Welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales, a podcast about all things sewing and what it's really like to run a sewing business. I am Johanna Lundström, the author of several sewing books, and I also have my own pattern line under the brand name The Last Stitch.
My name is Malena and Hjerpe, and I'm a freelance pattern maker, and I also create my own PDF patterns under the name Hazelhen Patterns.
And are you feeling the fall vibes, Malena, or is it still summer in your mind?
No, we are definitely heading for fall, mentally and weatherly, so to speak.
Weatherly, yeah.
Yeah, it is getting colder here, and yeah. You know, it's becoming weather here soon. So, and I actually I like the fall, like clothing-wise. I'm much more of a fall person compared to summer, spring. I like being able to wear, a sweater if I want to. I don't like wearing a jacket, it doesn't need to be that cold. So early fall is actually kind of my favorite season, to be honest.
Nice. Because I hear a lot of people say that they actually prefer fashion-wise and clothes-wise. Actually, the summer isn't always the best time of the year, because you're able to express yourself a bit more using different kind of garments. But I agree with you that I don't like all the layers that it entails. There's a thin line between being able to dress up using a cardigan, but having to put up. There's a death of fashion as well, I think, in the wintertime, because then it just becomes function mostly. You have to figure out how to keep yourself warm, and you don't, because all the layers, you're not really able to express your style much at all, because everything is kind of hidden underneath those clunky, functional, cold weather garments. But for me personally, I do like summer as well, because I'm a big fan of prints and colors, and I feel that somehow, I know this sounds so boring and so basic, but I do gravitate more towards darker colors such as gray, navy, and black in the winter. Sorry. And
yeah, but I mean, it is more timeless, classic colors, neutrals, so you could wear them for many, many years as well. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's funny because if you go into any coat room in any workplace in Sweden and you look at the overcoats and the jackets in the winter, it's just a myriad of black and dark gray. You never, ever, hardly ever see anything in red or
maybe a beige jacket, maybe, but that's
beige,
the most colorful thing, basically.
Totally, and no patterns, no structures. It's just very, very plain. So that's how we like to dress. I guess.
Yeah, but also understandable. I mean, it's a huge financial investment as well. So you do want to be able to not just dress for the season. So I totally understand that. And also when you sew, I mean, you don't want the trend to end before you actually finished the garment. So I understand it, but how fun is it with a colorful jacket?
I agree. It is. Every time I see one in the city wearing something colorful or printed, it's such a mood booster. I mean, for me as the viewer, and I'm sure for the person wearing it as well, it's just a way of kind of defeating all the grayness, because of course in the country that we live in, the weather kind of reflects that kind of color scheme, black, dark navy and gray, because that's the color of winter, every winter in Sweden.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a saying that you shouldn't dress for the job that you have, dress for the job that you want. I think it's a little bit same thing also with your mindset, your mood. Don't dress according to your mood, dress according to the mood that you want. I mean, if you want to be happier, dress happier. I'm trying to do this myself, a little bit. I'm not there yet because I work from home. I'm in my sweats 99% of the time. But you know the idea, dress according to what you wanna feel, maybe not your current mood. If you have something bright colored, you usually become a little bit happier as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably why we are a little bit doomy and gloomy also in Sweden. I don't know if it's true. I should say, of course, when you look at kind of happiness ratings, the northern countries, contrary to what you might think, are actually uh, belongs to the people in the world that are the most happiest. I think in Finland, isn't those the happiest countries?
We are like the happiest country for the 8th time in a row, which is like, have you met the Finns? We are not like happy, like we are not happy laughing out loud happy. We are more of a like, this isn't too bad. We are managing. We are okay. We have low expectations of things. Pretty good. We are moving on. So I think it's also like, what are you expecting of life? I don't know.
I agree with you. I think it's mostly about expectations of life and general life satisfaction. And because we are not generally bubbly people here in the northern, which means that we have a kind of a different mode to ourselves. And I think we're more like, okay, if it's not too bad, it's pretty good. So I guess that's why. And I think when they look at these studies, they don't look at like endorphins or something like that. I think they look at general satisfaction. And I think it's a trait in a lot of Nordic countries that, we don't expect too much of life. So we're not too
but also like I think they're also like the school system, the healthcare, like all those things, they are in Finland super high standards. Yeah. So I mean, we don't have so much to complain about either. So in that sense, we should be happy, and we know that. Like it's a good country to live in. So we are happy about that, of course. But we are not, how do you say, the social, laughing, loud happy, not that kind of a happy.
You're like silently happy inside.
Exactly. Happy. We sit in our summer cottages alone in the sauna, enjoying life. That kind of a happy.
Yeah, that's very true. And of course, you bring up a good point as well. I mean, that's why, of course, the northern countries rate high. Denmark is also usually in the top tier, and Sweden has been relatively. And that is because we have such a good social security and welfare system. Of course, it's easier to be content then because you don't have to stress out and you are not that exposed, even though, of course, we all have our sets of issues in our countries as well. But yeah, so I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's of course a little bit funny because, of course, we in Sweden, we think of Finnish people as being really kind of, I don't know, as you say, not very bubbly, kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, we are known for being quiet. So, and I mean, it's a stereotype, but it's true. It is kind of true. So yeah, I understand that people can be a bit surprised by that result.
So we wear the colors on the inside in the northern countries. That's why we wear black on the outside. Doesn't really.
But today we are actually both wearing colors, blue. But still,
because blue. It's a color. Blue is the best color, right?
It is my absolute favorite color. Yeah.
I would be curious if anyone has a distaste for blue, because I think that's probably the only color that isn't divisive, where we say there is no polarizing thing about blue. Of course, you can like different blue colors, but I would be so surprised. And please, dear listeners and watchers, tell us, do you hate blue? Because I think a lot of colors have this strong, like yellow and pink and orange. Those are kind of triggering colors, and sometimes I think people feel about that about black as well. But I've never anyone heard to say like backtalk blue and say, "Oh, it's such an awful color."
Yeah, and I like, to be honest, almost any shades of blue, any type of blues. I could totally wear that. So yeah, blue is definitely my favorite color.
And if you want to watch what we are wearing, of course, you should head over to YouTube and watch the video version of this podcast over at Stitching Tales Pod. You can see and also I even wear blue nail polish today because why not? I've been on a blue nail polish kick for about the entire year. That's the only color I want to wear on my nails as well.
Well, we are matching very nicely.
Thank you. And I think we all both are wearing something we've sewn ourselves as well, right? You're
Yes,
wearing?
I am wearing the Malva t-shirt.
And I am wearing a pattern from Burda Style that I've sewn, a knit top with a beautiful print fabric, a cotton jersey top that I love because it has an interesting pleated puff sleeve. So it's one of my favorites. Definitely a mood booster for me as well. It's a nice way of wearing prints without them being too like loud and it's a subtle print, but still a mood booster. But yeah, let's move on to fall trends. That's what we're going to talk about today. We actually done some research, even though we do a lot of off the cuff talking on this podcast. We have both done a little bit of research, so I think we should take turn and drop one trend each and do a little bit of commentary. Malena, what is your first prediction for fall or trend forecasting?
Well, I've seen a lot of drapey coats. Both, I think, Vogue, the Scandinavian Vogue, and Harper's Bazaar. They talked about drapey coats, and it doesn't have to be like the whole coat is drapey, but it like a little bit more bigger size coat, and maybe like that has a scarf in the same fabric or something that is draped over, or with the like cape thing or something, like different kind of coats. And I think that's a great thing to sew.
Totally.
Different, and the fitting can usually be a little bit easier when it comes to coats because they are not that figure tight. They are usually a little bit bigger, a little bit forgiving them when it comes to the fit, that it doesn't have to be on point in that sense compared to like a tight shirt or something. So yeah, coats. I've seen lots of different beautiful coats. Have you also noticed that?
The same. I had it on my list as well. And I think one great hack that you could do if you can't find one of those draped coats for a sewing pattern is to add a scarf. Because to the coat, if you already have a nice coat pattern, I think adding a scarf is a pretty easy sewing hack. And it's been a trend for a while, but just as you, I noticed that this is coming so strong, which it's a funny way because it's basically a coat. And instead of the collar, it's a large rectangular scarf that you can tie around. So it fills both functions, which is probably one of the easiest way of using that drape trend. And I actually thought about using my AV cardigan because I have the long version, which is like a coat again. I was kind of thinking about doing a hack for that, just adding that kind of wide scarf instead of the small standing collar, because I thought it was a really interesting. I haven't never worn a scarf coat, so I'm curious because I love wearing scarves. So I was thinking, what is it like wearing a coat with a scarf? Do you don't wear a scarf underneath then, or I'm curious. Have you ever had a scarf coat?
No, not really. Yeah, bigger collars that are a little bit more protective than. But always I can wear like double scarves, knitted scarves, like the inner and then the outer when I go out. I'm very cold around my neck in the winter, so I always want to have some protective. But it's I think it sounds like a great sewing project. And the best thing is that you can take a pattern that you already have and just hack it pretty easily. So you don't have to like start all over again. So I think that's a good benefit of having your own patterns that you can just adjust a little bit according to the trends.
Yeah, and I'm sure if someone a pattern designer is out there listening, if you're gonna do one key garment, we're probably not you and I, Malena, won't be doing, but do those nice, interesting draped coat that is fairly easy to sew but still has some interesting details. I think that will probably be a really hit pattern if you don't make it too complicated. And with the drapes, maybe you can also remove some of the tricky issues like getting the lapel and everything like that done. So it's actually easier to make a coat if you use some kind of draping details instead. So there are probably lots of out there. I'm afraid I'm not in the loop, but still, for what it's worth, it's definitely something that I think would be a good pattern to launch this fall for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your next thing on the list?
Yeah, this one is not actually on any trend forecast, but it's really, really happening right now, and it's in every store in Sweden. I was in the US this summer, and I saw it in all the like chain stores, and it's something you can definitely sew yourself, and that is the comeback of the ringer t-shirt. Do you know what that is, Malena?
No, you gotta explain.
Yeah, the ringer t-shirt is those classic t-shirts that has a wide binding at the neckline, at the sleeves, with usually contrasting. So think any type of, it's a reoccurring trend. It was popular in the 70s, it was popular in the 90s, and now it's back with the Venegans. So, and this is something you can really fairly easily do yourself. So compared to a regular binding, the ringer t-shirt is usually have the binding is a little bit wider. So I think it's usually maybe 1.5 to 2 centimeters wide, which is half an inch or more. So sometimes those binding attachment makes a little bit more narrow binding. But I should say that if you check out my book, Master the Cover Stitch Machine, I show ways of doing the wider binding as well if you want to do that. So I think it's a fun way of spicing up any t-shirt pattern. So have you seen those? I mean, you do work in the fashion business, Malena. So have you
No, I'm just thinking,
well?
but is it just that detail then, that it's just a regular round and wider binding?
Wider binding at both the... so it's a crew neck usually. Crew neck, neckline with wide contrasting binding, and the short sleeves also are finished with a wider binding.
No, I'm laughing a little bit because just a couple of days ago I saw the last episode of The Bear, the series. I don't know the name of the head character now, but there was this long scene when they have this really emotional talk, and he's a chef, and he came out wearing a t-shirt that had a really wide binding, around neckline. But like the first 2 minutes, I could just stare at that neckline because I was like, is it supposed to stand up? Or is it supposed to lay flat? Has it been stretched out when you wear it or in the sewing? Or is that a design detail? I don't think so, but I'm like so unfocused. And after a while, I was like, no, I think it was a little bit the angle, how it was shooted in the scene. So from a different angle, it was laying a little bit more flat. But yeah, so I've seen it.
You've seen it, yeah. You've really seen it.
I've been focused on it.
If we were able to, it would be awesome if we could post a screenshot of the main character.
I will,
write that down. And I will also post a photo of a ringer t-shirt I made some years back using the method that I talk about in my book, Master the Cover Stitch Machine. But I think it's a fun sewing-related trend that you can definitely try if you haven't already. You can also do binding on a sewing machine as well.
Yeah, easy detail to do. Just with the precaution that the wider, also if you have a attached cuff, like the wider the neckband or binding, the more stretched out it needs to be able to lay flat, since the inner length needs to be a lot shorter, so it lays flat. So there are like a fine balance between how wide can it be, so it actually lays flat. And I mean, it can't be too short, because then obviously it's going to be pulling the neckline together and create gatherings. So there are really like a fine line. How short, long should that neckband be? And how stretchy, good recovery should the material be? So this is really good to also experiment before you actually sew your final t-shirt. Like, do a trial run, do a mock-up, do a test, to see that you have the tension right and everything. Because there is really there's a fine line between making it perfect and getting not fit issues, but sewing issues to it.
Sewing issues, yeah. good. So you don't want to end up like the main character in The Bear. That's going too wide, apparently. I haven't seen that series, but I know a lot of people do, so it's I'm sure I would really enjoy it. But so a good point there, Malena. It's definitely a sweet spot, and you have to figure it out for yourself. But if you're a little bit unsure, definitely start with a more narrow binding, because that's going to be much easier. And the ringer t-shirt, it doesn't really have to be a wider binding. It's just that usually it's a trait of those ringer t-shirts. It's slightly wider compared to what you would see the normal binding width would be. So yes, that's my first trend forecast for fall 2025.
Cool. Yeah, very specific. I like that. Yeah,
okay,
very nice.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, the other one I have seen is the midi-length skirt. The skirt that are like below the knee, like mid-calf-ish. Could be both pencil or a little bit wider, or even like plissé, or all different kind of silhouettes basically, but that kind of a length. And the reason why I really noticed and picked up on this is I love this length. This is my absolute favorite length on skirts. Yeah. So I'm very happy. Like you know me, I'm the kind of person who I have my things that I like, and every now and then I become a little bit trendier, and then I'm out again. It comes in cycles. So I was really happy to see that. Oh yeah, my taste is starting to come back again.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Because I do love looking over all the like major fashion sites and Net-a-Porter and everything like that, and they're absolutely everywhere, and lots of quite wider. I think it's a little bit of the new look from the 1947, the classic Dior look. It's usually have a lot of fullness as well, so it hits. It's either gathers or it's cut on the bias or pleats. So there's a beautiful fullness, and I think it's a very super comfortable, and also, you know, as you say, it works for most people. I'm not honestly much of a fan of the maxi skirt. I never really been. I guess I don't know if it's because I'm so short that I feel like I'm drowning in it, but I love the midi look. It's such a it's a classy look. I think it's a very,
I think so.
It kind of elevates your style. So I've been thinking about doing some kind of pattern for that as well in the future, because I really like it, and I agree with you. It's a great style, and it's fun to see that coming back, and again, so easy to sew, and I think you will find those patterns very easily. You can of course also draft your own bias.
Or if you have something from before, like just lengthen or shorten it, and you will get the right length. I've also been like, just the last couple of days I've been like, you know, designing in my head like, wouldn't it be so nice to have a skirt in Punta di Roma with elastic waistband, like the elastic that is like folded down, not like a cuff waistband, and I don't know if it's pencil or wider, or I don't know, but something. It would be so nice.
We should probably design one together, because that's exactly what I've been thinking about too. In the last thing, I'm thinking about like, should it be pleats, or what should the waistline look? And of course, the good thing about the fullness as well, it's so easy to add side pockets, and that's so attractive as well. When you can have the side pockets and the fullness, it kind of adds even more body to the skirt. So yeah, maybe we'll see. Let's talk about that later on. But yeah, that would be so fun. I definitely feel it's nice to see. I'm a big skirt wearer myself, so it's nice to see it's coming back with the Vanagons. I mean, it's been so much about pants, and shorts and things like that, and jeans, of course, has been massive. So it's nice to see skirt coming back.
Yeah, I love that trend. So looking forward to more skirts in the wardrobe.
Nice. Is it my turn? Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. So my next trend forecast is also related to skirts, which is pleated skirts. And because I was, this is a forecast that I've seen in many places. First of all, as I mentioned in the last episode, I went to the Swedish Coachella way out west, which is a massive 3-day music festival here in Gothenburg, with lots of major international artists as well. And the biggest trend there on guys on stage was pleated skirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like a kilt lookalike, or
like a kilt, yeah, exactly. Like a kilt, not necessarily in tartan fabrics, but that kind of where all the pleats go in one direction. And so they were not short, but a little bit longer, like knee level or slightly below. So it's so fun. I mean, both, the singer, maybe one of the guitarists, or, it could be either one was wearing those pleated skirts. So that's definitely like a big trend. So it's even taking on guys, especially performing guys. So if you want to be on trend and you listen to this, get a skirt, pleated skirt. That's my best advice for 2025 fall. But also I saw on the trend forecast that it's coming back, and I was seeing in lots of shops, and that is a combination of tartan and those one directional pleats. So a kilt is probably a good way to hit the trends in 2025 for another skirt trend.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, it's such a classic silhouette, and I think the trend goes a little bit up and down every now and then. But yeah, it goes in cycles. Like it's a classic. It's always I think gonna be an okay trend. Like you're not gonna be like unfashionable if you wear something like that. It's always gonna be like, it's always gonna work, I think.
Totally. And I actually, when I was in Edinburgh, I think that must have been over 10 years ago, I bought some nice like authentic tartan fabric and made it into a skirt, and I still wear it every winter. Beautiful fabric, 100% wool, doesn't pill, never get bored of style. So I'm going to post a picture of that kilt as well. So I agree with you. I don't think you will ever get tired of that unless you pick a very like specific fabric or something like that. And it's also pleats. I mean, there's a little bit. I think it's a good idea to sew it in wool if you can, if that's your climate allows for it, because fixating the pleats on wool is way easier than on cotton, right?
Yeah, and you are gonna, I mean, you can fixate pleats like, so they still are pleats after a wash, but that I think, now I'm a little bit trying to remember what they said in school. You can do that on specific fabrics, like synthetic fabrics. You can you can't do it at home, but like you can do it in factories, like because it requires a certain like heat and pressure and everything to get those fixated. Really, I don't. Please, anyone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we really can do that with cotton, linen. I mean, you can press it down for yourself, and it will kind of stay a little bit after washing and drying, but you have to repress it, which I mean is fine if you want to take that time and do it, of course. But yeah, wool, you don't wash it that often because the fabric, you don't kind of need to wash it in that same sense as for a cotton garment. So in that sense, yes, wool is so much better, and also it presses a little bit more beautifully. It doesn't get wrinkled in the same way as cotton either. So yeah, no, it makes total sense to have more pleats in wool kind of fabric. But how is it with the checks, tartans, like checks, to make those pleats? Because you kind of have to be meticulously careful with those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think luckily the one that I had was pretty large scale checkers or tartan pads, so it wasn't tricky. But if it's a small scale, it's gonna be an issue. So I don't have any answer to that. Another good way of keeping the pleats down is if you stitch down the pleats a little bit. If it allows you for your specific body, is that you top stitch each pleat maybe 2 inches, 5 centimeters, something like that, because that's also a way of making it easier if you're going to press the pleats later on, then you have that guide. Because I think that the trouble with when you have to re-iron the pleats is that it is quite tricky to get every pleats right. So if you've done it once, and of course when you do that when the garment isn't finished. So for instance, if you have a pleated skirt, maybe it's pleated in the front, you do that on the front piece before you sew together the side piece and add the waistband. And of course, when the garment is finished, it's trickier as well because you have more pieces and fabric to handle. So, but I do like stitch down pleats a lot, and I do recommend that on kick pleats as well. It's a good idea to stitch down, especially it's going to be a little bit stressed. You get that kind of little bit of flatness, and then you get the fullness further down. So it's probably usually a good idea, I think, stitching the pleats a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's a good way to help out, definitely.
Yes. All right. Next trend is
one small trend. I don't know. I haven't seen this in any. This is something that I have noticed. Several like trendy influencers here in Sweden have posted, and one or two sewing influencers as well. So I don't know if this is a trend, a micro trend, or if it's. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. But it is like this really, really wide, like kind of balloon pants. When it's like
barrel pants.
Not barrel pants, like
no,
wider, and then it have like an elastic at the bottom, so it gathers at the bottom.
Yes.
Not a cuff, but like you can basically have like a
Genie pants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Genie pants.
Yeah, and
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Massive
when
trend.
I say wide, I mean wide, like really wide.
Like yards upon yards upon yards upon.
Yeah, so it's basically gatherings also in the waist to be able to create that kind of volume. Have you noticed it as well, or?
Yes, I have. Yes.
What do you think? Is it a trend? Is it not? Is it specifically just here? Is it worldwide? Have anyone else seen it?
Yeah, because I saw a US designer doing it when I was doing my favorite pastime. How do you call it? Screen shopping. Yeah, I saw one a pretty like high fashion American designer had, and I listened to a podcast interview with her, and she said that was her best-selling style right now.
All right.
And she has them in both, I think, woven, rayon, and perhaps silk, and also in knit fabrics. Because you need something soft, right, to get that really nice drape.
Yeah.
And again, it's such an easy sew, right?
Yeah.
It must be super easy to make.
Yeah, usually they don't have the like advanced details, advanced pockets or anything, because that would kind of destroy the drape, I think. Side pockets, sure, but not like patch pocket on top or like 5-pocket denim kind of pockets. That wouldn't work. But yeah, it's such an easy sew. And I mean, if you just have a really wide-legged pair of pants, you could easily just add a elastic in the bottom hem and you can get that kind of a silhouette. If you want, you can even slash and spread either just at the bottom leg or the entire leg to make it even wider. So it's super simple trend to do yourself. But funny you have noticed it as well. Then I'm not completely off.
No, because I noticed it. But I haven't realized that it took on in Sweden as well. That it's kind of moving. So I guess because we have both independently seen it in totally different places, that I think is the significant of a trend. And of course this is more of a micro trend, I think, because it is a very specific style, and not everyone will want to wear that kind of roomy trousers, for instance, to work or something like that. But I think for comfort and the combination of comfort and very easy, as you say, very easy to sew, I definitely think it's a style that's going to take off in the sewing community for sure, because it's probably one of the easiest pants to sew if you look into the effort versus the style effect.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those trendy trends that comes. Maybe I don't know how many people are going to jump on it. I don't think it's gonna be long-lived, but like, you know, the quicker it goes up, the quicker it will come down as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how long it's gonna live. But I mean, the silhouette so comfortable, so I totally understand also why people are gonna love this.
Yeah, and it's always how shall I say, it's always popular in a certain segment of the population, because as I mentioned previously, I go to something called free flow ecstatic 5 elements dance or something like that. Anyways, which is people, there's a certain demographic, and I'm sure we have it in all the countries. They love to wear harem pants, and the Genie pants is definitely similar to that. So basically people that are very inspired by the 60s and 70s and the hippie era. I think they have never stopped wearing these kind of pants. So I think it's more that it's become a little bit more fashion forward and a little bit more like elevated in terms of fabric choice and things like that. But I will say that there will always be people wearing those who like to do free movement stuff and things. So I've seen a few pants over the years at the dance.
Yeah,
as well.
that's so true. Yeah, definitely.
All right then. Another trend that I have seen, and I think it's going to take on as well, is the long jacket or the power suit from the 80s. So what I'm referring to now is a dressier jacket that is longer. So it's pretty form-fitted. It's not those oversized, but it kind of tapers a little bit in the waist, and then it moves all the way down. So it covers, I think, almost the entire butt. It can be also collarless. Calvin Klein, the iconic designer that was massive in the 90s. I mean, it was a massive brand before that as well, but they have returned to doing more fashion-forward thing, not just underwear. And on their runway, those were everywhere. And also, I think Giorgio Armani, the Armani suit in the 80s was also one of those classic look. And I've seen basically carbon copies of that style on the runways. And also when I looked at the trend forecast, it was listed on several sites as well. I don't know, have you seen that as well?
I have written power suit. Maybe more a little bit exaggerated shoulders. I not specifically that length, but yes. yes.
It's coming. It's coming.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because we have been so casual now for many years, and I think the pandemic and the athleisure trend that followed had definitely moved far, far away. But now more and more employers are office first again, and I'm sure also because it's funny with clothes that we do tend to go in one direction very far, and then we want to go to another direction. So it makes sense that the power suit is making a comeback, because we moved so far away from that, and now more and more people maybe want to have a slightly more dressed up look. But the good thing about, regardless if it's that oversized that you mentioned, or the little bit more fitted that I mentioned, it still has a lot of room and ease. So it's not a constricted power suit. It's something that you could wear and not feel like it's too tight or it hinders your movement in any way. So I think it's a not particularly my style of garment, especially again because I'm so short that I feel like I would drown in that kind of silhouette. But I definitely think we're going to see lots and lots of styles in that direction.
And I think this is a kind of trend also, same as many others, that there are some people that they always, that's their style, that's their go-to kind of garments. They always dress more or less like that. And then it comes cycles when it becomes more trendier and specific silhouettes are more trendy or not. But it's always going to be there. I mean, a power suit is always a power suit. It's always going to be you're always going to be able to find that kind of garment in the stores anytime, any year. A little bit different depending on different trends, of course, but there is always a place for a power suit, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And also the ones that I've seen on the runway, they are oftentimes colorless again. So it's just a round color, which also makes it way less intimidating to sew, because just as I talked about in the coats, I mean, getting the lapel and the color right on a coat or a jacket is usually the most difficult thing for us home sewists to master. But if you have a round neck style, it's going to be way easier to get a really nice finish. So it's probably a good idea to look into that as well if you want to get into power dressing in a not too intimidating way when it comes to tailoring.
And I don't want to scare people off if they want to try to sew this trend, but blazer, any type of that kind of jacket style, that is gonna be the most advanced thing you basically can sew. It's not just fabric and lining, it is how you build up the whole thing with interfacings and shoulder pads, and it is gonna require quite a lot, not just fabric but other things as well. So for the more advanced sewist, here you have a challenge. For the beginner sewist, maybe, it's not the next project I would recommend if you're a beginner, but because it is such a structural garment to build up, and this is tailor knowledge. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't dare sew that kind of a project because I know how advanced it is to be able to get it right. So yeah, it is tailor knowledge.
It is tough. Yeah, totally. And I will say I definitely see myself as a more advanced sewist, and I do not have the skills of making a proper tailored jacket. So, but if you're able to simplify it a little bit using not the most complicated pocket constructions and skipping the collar, then you could rock that style, I think, if you're intermediate, I would say an ambitious intermediate sewist, then, and also have realistic expectations of your first tailored garment, that it might not look exactly the way you envision it. Probably, and maybe take a course as well, I think will be a really good
and
idea.
I mean, you can really interpret this
specific skill.
Your own way. A couple of years ago, I had this kind of similar power look suit jacket, but made in Ponte di Roma, a jersey fabric. So it was really simplified and really, I don't remember if it even had shoulder pads or not. But so you can take on the trend as well and make it as simple as you want, of course, as well. So it really depends on what kind of level you want to aim at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that also brings us to the point that, wide shoulders and shoulder pads are definitely back.
I kind of have a hard time with that. That is like, it looks nice on others, but for me, when I wear it, I feel dressed up. Or not dressed up, dressed out. Like, it doesn't sit right with me, on my body. It just, I feel weird when I have it. It's the same thing, like, I can't wear lipstick. I feel like I'm wearing a... I can have so much makeup on my eyes, no problem. But on my lips, it just... No, not for me. So you don't... if it's not... shoulder pads is the same thing. I can't wear it. It's, unfortunately, not my thing.
No. I mean, I do appreciate a subtle shoulder pad. But I do prefer to have the shoulder to hit my natural shoulder as much as possible. I guess maybe, I mean, you're younger than me. I would say that I was kind of ruined by the 80s, but you didn't go through that because you were young in the 90s, and that when the silhouette became a lot more narrower. But for me, that kind of spongy, massive shoulder pad, it's not my style as well. I feel probably not, but generally speaking, the shoulders are getting wider and wider for sure. So that's no way around that, I think.
Yeah, no, so true. One trend that I have noticed is also or that it's written a lot about. And I think this is also like more or less every other year it comes and goes. Fur detail, fringe details, or like lace details.
Lace,
And when I say
massive.
fur, I obviously mean synthetic furs, so not real animals. But both details and full on, I would say. And the great thing about this is you can take those existing pattern that you love and have already tried and have done fitting adjustments that it fits you well, and just add on those small details. So you don't have to, it's not a trend that you have to buy something new and remake. You can just do what you already have and add details on cuffs, necklines, hems, whatever. So it's such an easy trend to just add it on to what you already got in your wardrobe.
Yeah, a nice way of using scraps as well. If you made something in lace and you have saved that little bit of scraps, you could definitely add it. And that brings me to a sub-trend that maybe you and I won't rock, but the slip dress with the lace insert on top of pants, maybe jeans. The 90s are back, everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it yourself. 80s ruined for you, 90s ruined for me. So yeah, I've seen it. Not a fan of the 90s trend coming back in any form or shape, more or less. But yeah, I grew up there. It feels like I'm dressing like a 15-year-old again if I would hop on those trends. So, but I've seen it.
It's coming on strongly. Yeah. And I guess a sub-trend to that, because now I talked about the dress, but also it was so popular in the 90s, the party top, which was either like a camisole with lace insert, or maybe it had sequins or embellished or embroidered, and you wore that really elaborate top, and then you wore regular low-cut jeans. That was a combination that was massive, right, in the 90s.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to see that come back as well. And speaking of pants, because I also looked at what is the pants style and jean styles, and it seems like this is the year that everything goes. So again, I went to the Net-a-Porter site and at the new arrivals in Denim, and new arrivals included the barrel jeans, which I mentioned previously. I thought what you were referring to, and we talked about that in our last forecast episode, which are those that have a balloon rounded side seam, so they are narrow at the hem, and then the side seam kind of shapes out like that. And I saw boot cut low rise pants, and I saw skinny pants, and I saw high-waisted pants, and I saw high-waisted flare pants and straight pants. I think the only trend that I didn't see much was mom jeans. Mom jeans, I think they are not really rocking it in 2025. And I also saw more cuff jeans as well, which I made a pair earlier this year. I'm going to post a photo of that as well in our Stitching Tales Instagram account. But I copied basically a brand, Patou, a French designer brand, but there were lots more cuff jeans now. So when I say cuff jeans, I don't mean those narrow. They're quite wide, quite straight or wide, and the cuff is really wide, like maybe 2 decimeters, 20 centimeters, with 8 inches or something like that. I'm trying to do the math. That's why a big sigh. I'm like, imperial math, always a struggle. So if you're into making jeans or buying jeans or whatever, I think you can pretty much whatever. Unless you're buying mom jeans, don't buy mom jeans. That's probably the only jeans that is not trendy in 2025.
Are the boyfriend, using air quotes now, boyfriend fit jeans, like those tapered jeans, did you see any of those, or?
Not as much, unfortunately. But I did see them, so I don't think it's not wrong to wear them if you feel it from a trend perspective. I don't think I've ever seen that many jean style exist simultaneously. And again, if to bring the point back to the festival that I went to, which was mostly populated by Generation Z. I think those are the ones that are born in the late 90s to I think the 2010s. So basically my children, for instance, they are like oversized jeans, like massive oversized jeans, not flared, but just really, really, really roomy from the hip and down all the way to the hem. So I think if you want to dress like a youngster, that would be my number one tip. But otherwise, I think pretty much anything goes. So that's nice. I mean, usually it can be a struggle because you get attached to a certain style of jeans, and all of a sudden there's nowhere to be found. But I think you will find your jeans, regardless if you want to sew them yourself or buy them in stores. I think you will not go wrong with any type of jeans, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds comforting as well, because, and as always, I mean, if you enjoy the trends and you want to jump on the latest one, well, go for it. And if you have your silhouette that you are comfortable in and like, do that, of course. Don't change just because the trend says something else. Obviously, always do whatever you want to do. The only thing I have, like, sometimes when I see these, especially on catwalk, fashion show, the bad fitting. That's the only, like,
that's the only trend.
For that. Yeah. The mom jeans was a little bit like, is it supposed to fit badly, or is it just like that? I couldn't figure that one out. That why also I have had a little bit of issue with the wide-legged jeans, because they are on some pictures that I've seen. It's like, is it supposed to be so tight over the hip, the seat, the crotch, that is like pulling towards your crotch, that it feels like it's rising up into your body, and then the leg is so wide? Is it supposed to look like that, or is it just that that person have bought size too small jeans, or that makes me so uncomfortable? So as long as they fit nicely, I'm all for any trends. But those bad fitting, weird fitting, was like, I don't know, is it supposed to be like that, or is it just...
I think it's supposed to be like that. I honestly think that having, as you say, those pulls, gathers and those lines,
and that's when I can't get behind it.
Yeah, and because there are usually people that I would look at, it has pretty much standardized bodies that would normally, I would say, fit. I mean, young people, obviously. A lot of those have not, gotten a fuller tummy and things like that, but it's still, as you say, that's the way they like it. Yeah, so it's a design theater, not a fitting error.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not my thing as well, because I like to feel comfortable. And also the jeans that we are referring to now, they are pretty much always done in 100% cotton fabric. So there's no elastane or spandex, which means that if they hug in at the crotch area, it's gonna hinder your movement. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So again, not sure why people think that's a look, because I would panic if I had to
and I think that's
that kind of rigid, heavy denim, and it's so tight around the thigh and the crotch area.
Yeah, and this is just personal. Like, for me, I have a little bit tricky wear garment when it's this uneven tightness, that it's like a garment is super tight in one place and then it's very roomy in another. For me, it just on my body, it feels unbalanced. So that's why wide-legged, I have never really... it wasn't my trend, because it felt it felt uncomfortable. Then it's unbalanced for me.
Yeah. So we'll see if that. But I still think that, as I talked about previously, I think that generally we will move towards a slightly roomier pant silhouette, even though, you know, the skinny jeans is still popular and the cigarette pants and all those classic styles, but I think we're gonna like it a little bit roomier, because I still think that trend is gonna be a stick for a long while.
No, I think so. I think so too.
All right. Do you have any more trends?
Well, funny how I also have written checks here, and a lot of other things that you have already mentioned. It's going to be interesting to see what is picked up by the sewing community and by what you listeners please share if you find a trend that this is something that you are gonna sew, or something that you don't like at all or you do like. So we are interested to hear.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I think I'm generally speaking now, because I know a lot of our listeners, because we can see that stats from Spotify is in our age, between in the 40s and the 50s generally. And I would say, now I'm doing a generalization here, but I would say that a lot of us have initial resistance towards a lot of trends or changing. But I will argue that even though we might scoff at a few of these trends right now, give us a couple of years. We're gonna, just in time, until the trendy people has moved on. That's when we are starting to embrace those wider leg pants or whatever trend. So
quick input on that one. This summer I have been wearing bicycle shorts. All my neighbors are younger than me. They have been wearing bicycle shorts for several summers, several years now. And I have had a pair in my closet. And also, I haven't been able to wear most of my shorts because of size. They are too small now, all of a sudden. But the bicycle short I have been able to wear. And I kind of do get it now. It's like, yeah, it is super comfortable and easy to wear. I don't like the way it looks, still don't. No. But if everybody else is doing it, I'm fine with it. Okay, at home when I'm working in the garden. But I feel very seen and heard by your statement there. A couple of years after the trend, yes, now I'm picking on it.
So I think everyone should go back, every one of you, go back and listen to this episode number 70 in order in 2027. And then you're going to have a list of all the things you're going to wear this year.
Yeah, there's a delay process in me. Yeah, yes, it is.
Oh, I'm the same way. It's kind of funny, definitely. I mean, for me, it's I generally have a resistance towards oversized looks because I'm quite short and small bones, so I always feel like I'm drowning in lots of swats of fabric. But I have seen now that I'm gradually adding more ease to the garments that I both sew and buy.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely happening over here as well, and I agree with you. Bike shorts. I mean, I don't love how my legs look in bike shorts, but they have the perfect length for summer. Yeah. They're not too short and not too long.
Yeah, no, it's
so it's like a kind of like a summer leggings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Summer leggings. Yes, that's a proper name for it.
Yeah, and by the way, if you check out my Isla leggings, I do have the bike shorts lengths, and I made that pattern in, I think I launched it in 2019, because already back then there was the bike shorts trend had started to happening, so it's been a long time coming for sure.
But I do also like that we more mature, 40 plus now as well in age, we kind of know our style. We are not, those, like, we know what we like, we stick to it, we'll adapt, absolutely, but we we know what we like.
Yeah, definitely. So it's usually a small variation. That's why it's so fun, because I do love adding trends, and it's even though it's great to have a uniform, there's always a kind of a fresh or fun feeling to maybe try out a little bit different and venture outside your comfort zone, regardless of the things you do in life. And I think clothes could be one of those ways as well, where you can maybe I can push a little bit, because a lot of us, as you say, we like the same hair, we wear the same type of clothes and the same type of makeup or whatever, but just little tweaks here and there. You can see kind of a progress chart, a slow progress chart over a decade probably. That's what you can't see from year to year on us, but over a decade you will see subtle changes in how we dress, for sure. Even people in our age. And I would be curious to hear you who are listening. Can you relate to this as well, or is just you and I, Malena, are slow but somehow still adapting some of the trends, but it just takes a few years?
Yeah, no, so definitely leave us a comment, or write what are your trends this fall that you are gonna pick up on.
Yeah, drop us a line, and of course also hop over to our Instagram account, Stitching Tales Pod, where we're going to post some of the pictures of some of the things that we talked about in this episode. So thank you so much for listening. I am Johanna Lundström.
And I am Malena and Hjerpe. Bye bye!
Bye bye!